Alrighty, this turned into, I'm supposed to be being interviewed by Tina Salinas, and we could not get it together tonight, so I'm going to go ahead and invite her. Hopefully she will come on, and I want to thank you guys for joining. I'm supposed to be being interviewed right now by Tina Salinas, and she'll be coming on in a moment here. Hi. So I invited you, honey. So if you could go ahead and do it, and then she's here to interview me tonight, but we couldn't get the technology to work. So hi everyone that's joining, and hopefully we'll get this together. Yes, hi. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Thank you guys for joining. Let's see. So Tina, I did add you. You should be able to come on here. Tina is going to be interviewing me this evening, but for some reason we couldn't get the platform to work. So I told her I'll go ahead and I'll start a live on Facebook Live, and we'll try to get this interview going. Let's see. I think possibly, let's see. I'm not seeing her on here. Tina, if you can comment something and we can get this going. So guys, I know it's been a while, but here I am. Hopefully we get this interview going. So here's Tina. Oh, it says bring her on camera. So let's try this again. We'll send the invite back to you. Tina, you should be able to be added. Here she is. She's coming up here. It looks like she's putting it up here. Oh, here she is. She's down here. There you are.
I figured it out.
I turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Francesca. I really
You're welcome. I think your volume's down though, unless they can hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me, everybody? It's up as high
Can you
as
guys let us know if you can hear her? Put a comment or something, let us know.
Hopefully. I don't know. I know my
I can't see like thumbs up or anything like that right now for some reason on this dual screen.
Yeah, I can't see. Let me see. New comments. Nope, it's not allowing us to see that. Interesting. Okay. I'm not computer savvy myself.
You guys can just let us know if you could hear Tina. And in the meanwhile, we thank you guys for joining. And is that a thumbs up?
Yep.
Okay, they can hear you. You're very faint to me, so we got to just love Facebook.
Right.
Facebook has been censoring me for almost a full year now straight. So we'll do the best we can. I know you're also on YouTube. I don't know if you can maybe get me on YouTube. We could try the interview there. I'm not sure, but.
Right. Yeah, so usually with the YouTube, I just started doing that. And I kind of upload all the podcasts afterwards, and then I just upload it on there. Haven't kind of figured that out myself yet either. I'm just kind of
okay.
All this stuff here as I go along. So I'm going to actually start the show. Hi, everybody. I'm Tina Salinas from We Are the Voice for the Silenced and Afflicted. Typically, I usually do run podcasts off that specific show and page. We also have a smaller group called We Are Their Voice. And it runs on there along with, like I just stated, after the show, we'll upload it onto YouTube. So anybody interested is willing to, subscribe, like, share, of course. Before I start with Francesca, I would also like to advise everybody to please go to care2.com inside Malachi's Law. It is specifically designed to protect domestic violence and child abuse victims. We are dealing with way too much criminalization from the family courts. It doesn't seem as if they're protecting us, protective parents, and they are putting our children in harm's way, along with re-victimizing not only ourselves, but the children as well, which is causing so much trauma. And it's lifelong. People think it stops, and it doesn't. It's extremely lifelong, and we're trying to make a stand, rising up, and we're trying to make some laws change. Excuse me. We are definitely looking for reform for family court. I also want to just thank Francesca. You are awesome. She's a national advocate, of course. For some people that don't know, I know a lot of her audience is on here right now, but for the people that will tune in later on, she's a national advocate. She is also a best-selling author. She has a link, which later on after the live, I will include a lot of her information attached so you guys can steer towards her YouTube channel, which is Protecting #4, correct?
Punish for Protecting?
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I'm just
So
like listening intensely so I could hear you. It's so bizarre, but I
my.
can. It's just very low for me.
So she has her own YouTube channel, which is Punish for number 4, protecting. And then you're also an nonprofit organization, correct, Francesca?
Yeah, it's Punish for Protecting Incorporated. It's a 501c4 nonprofit nation for social reform.
So thank you again for starting the show. If you want to start off with either your story or maybe what you have recently been a part of. I know you've done some marches in Washington, D.C., which was amazing. You definitely stand for everything we are all fighting for right now. So much respect and love is given to you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for that. We just had something amazing. I was on in the New York Post. We had an article that was done by Lorena Mangelli. She's a journalist for the New York Post, and I do this nationwide, but I've been emphasizing very strongly on the state of New York for a little over a year now. I've been doing this for 14 years, however, but we've been focusing on this one judge who retaliated against me, which is why this all began with the book and the nonprofit. And it was a retaliation. But boy, has it, I mean, I thought I knew a lot. It's taught me a lot. This is something that I have to tell people you really don't fully recover from. It's very traumatic. And so I can really feel for people in the work that I do. I can have genuine compassion for what I do with others because I feel their pain all the time. And if we don't take care of our children in this country, we're not going to have, sorry, I have people coming in and out. We're not going to have a country because this is what we're leaving them for the future. But I had something amazing happen from the New York Post article. Dogs, come here. You don't have to protect me from my own family. Thanks. Or maybe, no, I'm kidding. So, but this was pretty amazing. You know, I don't know about your age range, but like we grew up on like watching programs like Gilligan's Island and so on. And Tina Louise, who played Ginger, they saw the article in the New York Post on Judge Anthony McGinty. We have the most amount of mother victims on this one judge than most judges. So what I do is I collect all the victims per judge so we can make that focus stronger for the people to see, basically. And then as we take and chip down at all this corruption and abuse that's happening, if we focus on a judge at a time, so to speak, or several judges at a time, it does help to chip away at what's going on. And I'm kind of going a little all over, but I'll bring it together at some point. But what happened is a woman named Julianne Michelle, she is also going through this. Anybody that watches me knows, of course, I support fathers, but I have a very strong emphasis to support women and children, mothers and children, children and mothers. If you think a fatherless home is bad, you should only know how bad our country will fall apart with a motherless home, let's face it. And there's been a lot of lies told, which I'd love to talk about tonight, if that's okay, with the fathers' rights movement. I'm going to emphasize on that because people have to be educated, and that includes good fathers. I've got some good dads on right now that are on every live. They know exactly what I'm talking about. So we're not unsupportive of fathers by any means. Right. But we have to protect the most vulnerable. And so with that, she's going through this. I have Dr. Mimi Epstein, another impeccable woman. She doesn't have access to her child. I have one of my best friends who I met who kind of advocates behind the scenes, another impeccable woman. She doesn't have her child. I mean, I could go on and on and on. And these are professional people. A lot of them are wealthy. So they used to say years ago, this is just poor, uneducated people. This has no discrimination against whoever you are. It doesn't matter your race, religion, your social, economic status. Nothing of this matters. This is an evil system, and they're just out to get your children because they're worth a lot of money.
It's designed, we talk about this all the time in my podcast. It's specifically designed like this. I mean, when you're hearing stories from, New York to the UK to Australia, in different countries, there's a real problem somewhere. And it's not just coincidental, okay? It's not coincidental. No. And when you're dealing with family court system, it's like more hypocritical because instead of them actually keeping the families together appropriately and paying attention to maybe some of these signs of abuse or even domestic violence. And don't get me wrong, Some of them do need to be educated, but there are a vast majority of these judges in family courts that are specifically educated. I know personally that are specifically educated with domestic violence, and they're just biased. And it kind of concerns you because you go, what is the point of taking an oath? What is the point of actually standing up and stating that you are going to, you know, live by your duty, and you continue to masquerade, because it's like this facade that they put on. You masquerade as if you're this wonderful judge and you're really trying to keep the family together, when ultimately it's money. That we talk about this all the time. It's always about money, and it's destroying the livelihood of a family setting. It's so hypocritical. It's disgusting. And, you know, something really does need to change. I know, I did just recently watch one of your Congress hearings. I believe you had approached. That was wonderful. I actually kind of was laughing a little bit because I'm going, wow, the woman asked the question, but you basically had already answered it on what you would like to see. And it's like she had no appropriate response for what you stated, because honestly, deep down inside, they truly don't care. They really don't.
Know, they already know. It's not like you have to see this past year, that was the New York Assembly, and they were actually, they gasped. They couldn't even talk. The one woman couldn't speak. Everybody, I was there through 13 people prior to me. It was 12. I was number 13. I had to keep leaving the room because CPS was talking. Sheila Poole, who's the head of CPS in New York, was speaking, and they were patting themselves on the back, and I was like going, I had to leave and come back to calm myself down. And so by the time I got there, I was able to rip into everybody. And then ironically, so I have spoken before every Congress member in our country. A few years ago, we did a briefing in, I forget the congressional hearing room that we did it in DC, but this was New York. And so this past, like a few months ago, I was invited to speak at the Blue Ribbon, and Sheila Poole was there. And that's one you want to see, because I wasn't nice at all. I mean, normally I'm going to be very professional. I ripped into them like I had 5 minutes. I did it in 3. I was just like, I'm so tired of this. I don't want to give you statistics anymore. I don't want to talk. I don't want you to nod and don't look me in the eyes like you care, because you don't. I said, we're still talking about the same thing, you know, all these years later. You already know about the dead children, the abused children, the molested children. This is not news to you, basically, is what I was saying. So they were like shocked. And it's like, I don't know why I'm invited back. Like, I don't even get it, because they're so full of it. It's not funny. You know, but.
How long ago was that, Francesca, if you don't mind me asking? How long ago was that when that happened?
That was only a few months ago. I'll try to repost it, and I'll tag you so you can, and the viewers can go see it. I mean, you know, what's kind of frustrating to me was that you have new people that come in and they try to assert our rights, and they try to put like the social science research, or they'll learn about ACE, adverse childhood experiences. Okay, which if you want me to tell you, speak a little bit on that. So I'm an advocate, but I'm an expert in Americans with Disability Act, domestic violence, and child abuse. And I wear many different kinds of hats, because you can't just kill this beast with one tool. Okay, and you have to be 20 steps ahead of them, because they're evil. And so no matter what evil they do to you, to slip out of that evil, they do evil to slip out. So they try to make themselves look like they didn't do anything wrong. They're that evil. And we have to be that much more wiser. So when I get cases, and I'm an advocate, not an attorney, when I get cases, I learn the ways that I can speak in court. I assert particular rights so that I can speak in court. I do things that are kind of like, you would almost say they were, I don't know what the word would be, but like not traditional, or what they tell you. So, and I've had to, because I'm like, there's no way that this is what it is, so to speak. So I'll give you an example. 1962 is the Family Court Act. We all know that. Started in New York State. We did not vote that in. I talked about that. That's treason. Number 2, it's been going on for decades, right? From 62 to 20, going on to 22. Okay, decades. Number 3, they have judicial immunity. That's a bunch of bull. It's not true. Logically, common sense, it's not true. Okay, they have, okay, but that's what they use. So you have to find attorneys, which is almost impossible, but we have a few. We have Josh Douglas, and we have a few that I don't name them all because some of them, Josh is very public. He doesn't care what he says. He's been in all the newspaper articles and so on, but others we're kind of keeping on the back burner. We have some very high profile civil attorneys right now that one of them was friends with McGinty and wants nothing to do with him. After 70 women come forward, so there's ways that you can go into these courts and there's things that can be done. And I've had to find, how do we basically kill the beast? How do we do that? And with 14 years of experience and then also being tortured by Judge McGinty and retaliated against for twice, not just once, but 2 times, and kicking his butt twice, I've learned. So what I've learned is that there's different ways to come in. And so I do it through federal codifications through the American Disability Act, because you can't penetrate those. Now, these judges are so narcissistic that sometimes they'll play you. Other times they start to praise you. Like they're almost thankful that you're giving them specific
you're
laws.
an intimidation factor to them. You intimidate them because you're basically giving them a taste of their own medicine. You are teaching them and educating them their own laws that they're supposed to be abiding by. And that's truth. It's not fiction, it's not false. You're also giving them testimony, which that alone right there needs to open some eyes up, because testimony is key. And that's another thing that I say all the time. People need to understand that in order for you to understand how these families are affected, we as warriors and survivors, not only us, but our children, and how they're going to have a story when they get older. And we're paving the road for them also for when they get older, so they can actually have that strength and encouragement to understand that, we stood up for you. We did the best we can. But these judges, even the guardian ad litems and CPS workers, they have gotten away with it for so long. And it kind of piggybacks on what you said earlier. It all comes down to accountability. For some reason, they feel that although they took an oath to supposedly protect, and they're doing the total opposite.
Right.
I know, again, personally, I have tried, and not only just me, we're always referred to call the judicial committee and put in complaint in. Guess what I received? It's not in our jurisdiction. We can't change the judge. Or
have you ever seen me like pull my hair out of my head? Like, if I hear it's not our jurisdiction one more time,
it's crazy.
How is moral obligation not anybody? It's everybody's jurisdiction when children are being abused. I mean,
exactly. But these are people, and again, this is another thing. These are people that are
somebody's asking to state our name. I don't know. Do you mean my name, or do you want both our? Crystal? Do you know Crystal Denisova?
Oh, Crystal. Yeah. Hey, hi, honey. I just recently met her. She's an advocate. They're going to be.
Hi, Crystal.
This is Francesca Amato. They're going to be doing they're trying to put together a march in Washington, D.C. and Sacramento Capitol, January 18th, I believe. I don't have the notes in front of me right now.
Oh, wow.
But they're trying to put a march together in reference to, the child welfare and the family court and the CPS corruption that's going on. So, yeah, we're trying to gather some advocates for that. Anyways, like I was saying, it comes down to the accountability. And if they have become so conformed and comfortable with getting away with this, and this is why so many families have suffered, but we've had enough, like we're getting sick of it. I shouldn't have to worry if I go in courtroom being represented by an attorney, which I know they're just getting paid regardless. They really don't care. They're just worried about the next steak dinner they're going to eat. Point is when I go in there and you're representing me, I shouldn't have to worry that you're going to jeopardize my child's safety and life, or be threatened that you're going to stop my hearing and give my child to an abuser when there's no facts proven he should have any reason to have him. You know what I mean?
Does he have your child all the time, though, or is it just on visits? Or
I'm sorry?
Like, I saw your, like, the pictures and the abuse and so on of what. So is that on visits, or I wasn't sure.
To sum that up, I have full custody of my son, thank God. But
thank God.
Yeah,
but even just any access is dangerous. I mean,
it's not just the access. People don't understand the depth of how far parental alienation goes. I know it's like this new trend that people are using in the courtroom right now, and they're getting away with it. But when you have your child, it's just as bad, because my child is not the same anymore, because he's forced to go on. He's still being abused and nobody's doing anything. And he's confused because he looks at me as if you're my protector. I love you. You know what's going on. So again,
it's completely foreign to a loving mother. It's
Yeah.
completely, it's like if somebody told you you can only breathe on Wednesdays. It's completely, we cannot wrap our head around it. There's no comprehension to me ever how this can even have happened this as long as it has.
Right.
That something as normal as I have to protect my child, and a judge ordering you to not protect your child, it makes, there's no sense in it whatsoever. And then the damages that just they're ongoing,
You
whether
know
it's a
what's
small
funny?
amount of time or full time, it is
Yeah.
absolutely detrimental to
You know,
everybody, to the child, to the parent.
and you know what's funny is, and I didn't know. Now I have 5 kids. Okay, going on 6 actually. I'm due any day
Wow.
now.
Oh wow.
What's funny is through my third child, I never knew that you actually had to go, because I never had to deal with this stuff before. I didn't know you actually had to go into court. You don't have custody of your own children. You have to go into court to file court custody for your kids, right?
Well, actually, technically, no, 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 no. You both have custody until you both have custody. If you never walk into a court, you both have custody legally. So if there's
Mhm.
no court order, even though it's fraud anyway, but just in the way
Right,
that things are, okay, in the way that things are, if there's no court order, no one can do anything to either party
right.
because there's no court order. So, but anyway, I could go on about that, and I'll bore you. But go ahead.
So yeah, but no, they make it seem as if like, well, that's basically, you're right, because you technically have like the physical custody,
You have it, right?
what you want, take your kid wherever you want. If there's a discrepancy, I guess, in the relationship, I should put it that way. If there's a discrepancy in the relationship to where it causes, both of you guys to have some, frustration amongst each other or ill feelings, one disagrees with the other, then next thing you know, we got an issue. So say if I want to keep my son and say dad comes over, I want to take him, and then he takes off and he doesn't bring him back. Well, now we're going to have to go into court because now you're acting
Right.
irrational and what have you.
Right.
But the point that I was making was, basically with our own children that we carry, especially as mothers, we carry these kids for 9 months. And then we get involved in a situation like this to where, either the other party is unfit to be there for whatever reason. We as parents don't even have a right anymore to protect our children. It's like
Right.
whatever we say in the courtroom is defiled. And it's like, you sit by and you are like, wait a minute, not only are you just like mind blown, you're sitting here going, where's my child's rights to be protected? Where is my right as a parent? It's like
Right.
civil rights don't matter, constitutions don't matter.
Right.
And anyone that wants to go further and superior up to file grievances or complaints or what have you, there's no one to turn to because you're not getting the proper and appropriate acknowledgement afterwards to fix the problem.
Right. I mean, I've gone all the way up the food chain, and I've gone everywhere. At the FBI, the Department of Justice. Then I've gone Washington D.C. FBI and Department of Justice there, and they all will do a pretend little investigation for a few seconds, and then they'll tell you that they don't have They'll tell you they don't have jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
And so, from my years of doing this, oh yeah, it was just infuriating. From my years of doing this, like I said, I had to find different ways to skin the cat, basically. Okay.
Right.
And so I'll tell you where the success has come in. And just to answer your question, Crystal, my YouTube channel has numerous families that have had their children either not taken from them or returned. And I'm not an attorney. Okay. So yes, we have gotten many children back, many, many. We have many testimonies, and I don't even have all my testimonies for the public to know about, because we've got Facebook trolls and we've got different other things that go on. And this is indeed the child trafficking industry. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
So you have to use a lot of wisdom in your work. Okay. But let me just say, one of the things I've done is, and it's constant pounding of the pavement, constant. One of the things that I've done is holding courts accountable. I let the judges know I am here right now to report you to the United States Department of Justice if you have any American with Disability Act noncompliance here. And I just know them. I could sleep and do that job. Okay. And that's when I either get respect from a judge, or they're such a narcissist that they'll just keep being a psychopath, because that's what they are. You can't correct a sociopath.
Right.
But I'm still going to do it. So what happens is, that's why I like to concentrate on certain specific judges or counties at a time, because what happens with that is you may have one canned letter that comes back from the Department of Justice, and two, and then 10, and they basically say the same thing.
Right.
We're not saying that your case is without merit. but we don't have
They
the resources.
categorize it in the same.
Yeah, the same can letter. But I tell people, don't get freaked out by that, because we're going to keep pushing it. And you know what? I've been successful in Virginia, in New York, in several states to get audits on the unified court system. Okay. There's other things. They have a mental health thing now with the Bar Association over judges, which is also infuriating, because if a judge has depression, now I'm an advocate for mental health, so I'm not against people per se, but if you're a judge and you're sitting in a position where you're making a decision on a family, okay, the most vulnerable children, and you have depression, or you have a serious drinking problem, which most of them do, and drug problems, severe, like cocaine and so on, most of them do. How dare you be making decisions? You cannot make a sober decision. But number two, if the Bar Association now has this mental health program for judges, we should know about it. Like, you know about you're supposed to know about the president. Let me not get into that. But we as the public should know about their mental health. Why are they not getting mental health evaluations? Why are they not being drug tested? And if they're being reached out by the Bar Association because they have these problems, because they're living with such deep-seated guilt that because of what they're doing to people, that's why they have these addictions and so on, and depression, let's face it, then why are they still there? I mean, you would keep somebody in a position, if you would drug test somebody to serve food at McDonald's, you're not gonna have a judge sitting there, but they do. And I'm saying you've got these positions.
The Bar Association alone is a joke within itself.
It's all illegal. It's all fraud.
Yeah, they don't realize that most of those people that work for the Bar Association clearly did not have enough education to make it further. So they basically slap them in that area and say, all right, we'll let you take these cases and you can make whatever decisions. And you know what I mean? And I actually had one that used to laugh every time she would speak. And I'm like, you're speaking about my son's life. Like, what the hell is so funny?
They're sick. They're sick, though. Yeah. I honestly, I've said it so many times, I don't think that they're human. I don't believe that they're human, because there's no way any human being would make decisions like this. I've court watched all over the entire country. So when you see it over and over and over and over and over and over again, any decision that a logical thinking person would make, these judges do the flip opposite. So, okay, there's an allegation, or excuse me, not even just an allegation. There is actual evidence of a criminal conviction of XYZ, whether it be domestic violence or ongoing violations of protection orders or sexual abuse, and they're giving children to them like it's nothing. Like, and then they tell you, as the protective mother, and in some cases father, they tell you, well, they have rights, they have parental rights, and you're just like, you want to pop their head off at that moment, because you're saying, they may have rights, but I have rights, and don't my rights supersede that I'm living properly?
Yeah, my kid has rights too. What about my
kid? And the children have rights, but and then but let me talk about the father's rights. And good fathers, you should too. The judges are going to something called judge school. That's exactly what it's called, judge school. And they are primarily learning about father's rights. This is why, over the decades, numerous mothers have completely, and I use this term lightly, lost custody, because they knew exactly where their children were when they stole them, okay? They didn't lose them for any particular reason. So, that's another issue that I try to tell people. Do not be ashamed because they want to shame you, because you're not some, crazed out heroin addict in a street corner, that you lost your children for a good reason. You are normal. These are wonderful, put together people that there's no reason that you would not have your children. So, but they want to shame you on top of it. But anyway, so that's what they're doing, and it's this father's rights movement. So one of the statistics that they perpetuate, and actually I was very upset because Ben Carson, who I actually do like and respect, he I don't know if you know who Ben Carson is, but he's the neurosurgeon that was able to separate two babies that were attached by the head successfully. He's a genius. But he was propagating this father's rights, the fatherless home, which I get it, because I believe in a father home, a mother-father home. We all do, okay? When you're not being abused, your children, that's wonderful. But they give that statistic, and it angers me, because they say, well, without the fathers in the home, they're going to grow up to be murderers, they're going to grow up to be illiterate, they're going to grow up to be poor, and they're going to grow up in jail. Well, geez, I mean, so all these wonderful, stable, one-parent homes that are successfully raising model pillar children who are doing excellent. I guess we're all not really here. You know what I'm saying? Or any
Right.
of us that I grew up without a father in the home, and I didn't grow out to be any of those things, and neither did anyone in my family. So how dare you say such a horrible thing? And that's propagated through the father rights movement. So that's one of the things we have to watch out for. It's a total deception.
Mhm.
There's no truth in it whatsoever. If a child is raised in a home, here's the truth, where there is an abuser, and
Right.
maybe a father biological isn't there because maybe he was an abuser, and a stepfather comes in and he's molesting the children or bringing in drugs and alcohol, and they always see them drunk, and then that child lashes out and starts to get arrested, starts to fail in school. That's where that really comes from. And if we don't tell the true story, we have not told the full story. And when we don't tell the full story, we remain in the same hole we've been in a very long time.
Right. If I could piggyback on that real quick too, as well. So, I'm all for fathers as well. I'm not against fathers.
Absolutely.
I just know, and I hear a lot more stories about women being in domestic violence, but I definitely am pro father. What I don't agree with, though, is the new trend of the 50-50, because it puts us
Oh, yeah.
domestic violence victims in a very bad predicament, because they have to understand that we're already not being paid attention to. They're not listening to us.
That's
They're
right.
already criminalizing us, and they're already
That's
putting our
right.
children in jeopardy. Okay. So now when you have these family rights, and again, no offense to any of the good fathers that are out there, I know,
They already, can I tell you, the good fathers are saying yes, yes, yes to all of this. That's how
right,
you know the difference between a good father and an abuser. It's
right.
so easy.
Yeah, and you will definitely see a lot of the narcissists come out of the woodwork for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Matter of
Oh, yeah.
fact, I just had somebody message me. It was a guy. I'm supposed to be doing in 2 weeks. I'm doing another podcast with a father. But prior to that, a man had reached out to me. He wanted his story. I said, of course, sure. I guess I didn't respond to him in the proper time frame because I have two accounts. And he became very aggressive, and he was just like, oh, you're all for yourself, you're not for the children, this and that. And I'm going, I'm not even going to entertain that. I feel really sorry for you, and this is
Good for
probably
you.
why you're in the situation that you're in. God bless you,
Exactly.
and I will pray for you,
Yeah.
because
God bless you and goodbye.
right, I don't have time for that. My whole thing is that the fathers have to kind of look at it is this way. We understand. Believe me, we have sympathy for you just as well as the mothers, because there are a great many of fathers out there that have done their darnest. They're not acknowledged, they're not respected either, and they have went through the court system just as much as we have.
And the family
um,
and the fathers' rights movement will never help them either. Either.
No, and that's
Those
the
dads.
sad part. That's the
That's
sad
right.
part, because it's like these other groups that they have out here, and this is what I tell people all the time. Not everybody is in the movement for the same reason, and that's what people need to understand. If you're doing something to attack another group, whether it be a mother or a father, or maybe attack another person for what they're going through, you're not truly in it for the right reasons.
That's
You
right.
know, if we have abused parents out there right now, our main focus right now is for the court system and CPS to pay attention and change those laws first. And then maybe sooner along the
Well,
line.
hang on, hang on. Let me clear something up though. If you don't mind.
Sure.
Our laws are perfect. People, we have to stop trying to chase a tail because we're wasting everybody's time, including our own, to change laws. Our
Mhm.
laws they're just not following the laws. Our moral laws, our God-given rights, our foundational laws to do what's normal, protect our children, breathe, not be told we can't.
Right.
Those are perfect. They're absolutely perfect. It's that this business, because that's what it is not broken. It's
Right.
never been broken. It has been built to do exactly what it's doing.
You're
It
right. No,
is
I'm sorry. I
treason.
worded it wrong. I
So no,
worded it
I
wrong.
mean, but
What
I
I
mean,
meant
it's a
is,
good. No, what you're saying, I'm not trying to like. You're right. I just want to say, like, it is really important because so many groups, especially new groups, they'll come in, and
right.
they're correct on so many things. But what happens is that the way we're going to take this back, and it is a lot of chipping and a lot of banging. It wasn't built overnight, so it's going to take some time. I'm not saying it isn't. You have to be
Right.
cut out for it. You have to be a warrior. You can't. You will take battle scars, and it's painful. It is
Right.
gut wrenching, painful. But we have to. You're right about joining together, but we can't join with everybody because there's a lot of enemies in the camp. A lot.
Right.
I
Right.
separated myself out. I am not a part of the parental rights movement. I'm not a part of the family rights movement. I'm not.
Right.
I'm very, very picky and I try to choose anyway, wisely, who I will link and join with,
Right.
because everybody's not on our side. And a lot of people they're wearing masks, and it's not these COVID masks. They're wearing masks, okay? And they are deceivers,
Right.
okay? So we have to be very careful, and I have very strong faith in God. That's what's gotten me through this.
Right.
Because it's hell. We're up against blatant dark evil. If
Right.
we know a lot, we know a lot. But if we knew everything, we would probably die just from the suffering that is going on with with children. Period.
I
So
refer to it as like the Matrix. You know, it's literally, as you
yes,
grow up, you're taught one thing, you know, even as far as something as simple in class, social studies and science and math. But as you get older and you start waking up and you realizing what's going on
it's
in the world,
amazing.
you're like, what is going on? You know, like, this is crazy. And, you know, to piggyback on what we were just talking about, you're right. It is the laws that are set in place because they were given to us a long time ago with our forefathers, and they established
That's
something
right.
wonderful.
That's right.
It's the reform of maybe stipulations and rules that should be followed, I guess. And that's what
That should be followed. That's
right,
perfect. You just said
right.
it. Perfect.
Yes. So that's
That's
what
right.
should be changed. Actually, you're right.
Because
Because
they
I've
want us
heard,
to keep chasing our tail and going, let's come up
right,
with this one's law and that one's law. And they can be good. They can be
right,
good because they can support in the midst of this evil.
right,
Okay, you can't go that far anymore. You can't go. That's true. But
right,
honestly, it's time. I won't say on here live on public. We need to really be more fierce.
right,
We need to be more fierce. And I think it's crumbling. I mean, it's been taking time, and like I said, but there's a lot that's being exposed right now. There's a lot of people being put in the limelight right now. Obviously, Epstein trial, there's a lot that's being brought to the forefront but people thought, oh, this is a multi-million-dollar business. No, honey, this is a multi-trillion-dollar trillion. I had the numbers at one point of what these courts make on a daily. It is
oh yeah,
absolutely unbelievable. Okay, unbelievable, unbelievable. Okay, there's no excuse for it. And Long Island, I mean, Michelina was just talking about Thomas Valva murder. That's a police officer father who had a child trafficking ring inside his home with his fiance. His child killed him, killed his son Thomas, and the mother had no access to her children. But then after she got the children back, CPS wouldn't leave her alone for almost a year straight. Never bothered him, who murdered and molested his own kid on camera for the world to see. Okay, but you know, this is
and you
what's
know
really
what?
going on.
You know what's terrible is I've seen this too, and I've actually heard from a lawyer. They will say that a sexual predator and abuser will get more visitations, which is beyond wildering. Now, I was molested as a child growing up. I would hate to have been as a kid put back, you know, into that person's life, for them to just continue. That's what you're doing. You're condoning that behavior. You're
It's
allowing them
sick.
to think, right, that there's no
Sick.
consequences. You know, we as the
You know,
protective parents.
have you been watching, by any chance, have you been watching, people might not like me to say this, but the Duggars, do you know anything about them?
No.
So there was a show, you probably know, by the 19 Kids and Counting or whatever. I think it went on. Anyway, it was a Christian family, and I think they're Baptist or something, but I don't remember all the details. But they have a very good moral
Oh,
fiber,
is
but
that
they
the
have,
recent one that just came out? Is that the recent one that just
yes.
came out that the girls were older? Okay, yes, I just
Okay,
seen that
so
not
let
too long
me
ago.
let
Yes.
me tell you what actually happened there. This is
Okay.
important because all these things tie into exactly what we're fighting for. And this is really, really, really urgently important. And I haven't been able to go live about it because I'm always in Facebook jail. And they're always censoring me. I used to get 10,000 views the second I went on,
Oh
and
my
they've literally tried to suck me out because they don't want this stuff out there, but it
God.
comes out one way or another. But
Exactly.
I'm really not that important, I guess. I mean, I don't know why they would pick on me so much, but anyway,
Because you're telling the
so
truth. That's why. I mean,
so
they
I mean,
can't
I
the
was in
truth.
Facebook jail because all I did was post. I didn't say if I was for it or against it. Everybody knows, but I didn't say it. I just posted the ingredients to the vaccines, and I was in Facebook jail for 30 days. And I'm like, well, if it's good stuff, why would you take me off the page and delete the message?
Right.
If it's healthy for you, and why would you do that?
Right.
You know, it's like deleting the evidence. I mean, why would you do that? But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
so the Duggars, for anybody that knows and has ever followed, and I look at comments here and there. I don't always get too engaged because I'm not going to torture myself with stupidity. But
Right. Right.
but here's the thing, okay? This kid Josh, all their children all got married, didn't have sex before marriage. I'm not putting anybody down. That's not what I'm saying. But they were taught a moral compass through the
Right.
Bible. Okay. And I believe in everything that's in the Bible, whether I do everything and I'm, there's another
Right.
story. I do my best. I try. I have a heart and I have convictions. But this kid, to what I've viewed and what I understand, had an issue, has a problem. I'm not saying he did not. His father was running for, I think, Senate or something. And of course, they want to rip this family apart and attack them. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe he had a problem as a 12-year-old kid. Okay.
Okay.
I do not believe that it's because of the way they're teaching their family, because this happens in 1 in 3. So it doesn't matter if you come from a cult family, a Christian family, a Muslim family. This is happening in 1 in 3. So 1 in 3. So, you can't point at them because they're Bible believers. But let me say
Right.
that I don't believe, and people are gonna probably hate me for this because most people are very happy with this verdict. I'm not. I do not believe that this guy, I don't believe that they hacked his computer. I believe they came inside and hacked his computer from in his very office. And if he has
Right.
this serious problem, and he wasn't raping children, okay, and I am anti anything that has to do with hurting a child. I am the first person to talk about that, okay? I'm the first person to be against that. He supposedly looked at child porn. Okay, now
Mm-hmm.
let's look at the hypocrisy in this for a minute, okay, and why this is so important. So he's looking at 20 years, okay, 20 years, and they're going to appeal it. And I really feel like somebody came in because let's take down the Duggars because of the message that they're giving. And why are we not taking down the judges, but we're taking down the Duggars? Okay, give me a freaking break, for heaven's sake. Okay, there's no comparison because these judges have been committing crimes in plain view for decades of
Right.
murder, rape,
That is.
molestation,
Yep.
pedophilia,
Yep.
lying, stealing, you name it. Okay, but we're going to take down the Duggars who are self-supportive and have supported every single child off of welfare. No welfare.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So you got one tainted Duggar. So you always have to go into the weakest link. And whether he did it or didn't or did do this, he's looking at 20 years. Can I tell you how many courts I've sat in with men that have actually raped little children, little girls who do not want to get back on that stand again and relive that nightmare? And guess what? They have no handcuffs on them. They are free and they live by schools.
Mm-hmm.
They're not in jail, but this kid is in jail. This
Yep.
father is in jail. Okay. So I'm not defending his actions. Please don't misunderstand me. But I think that I'm making an extremely important point as to how
Yep.
messed up our judicial system is.
And it's true though, because a lot of these judges need to be arrested. They need to be held accountable.
No
Again,
question.
that's basically what comes down to it. If they are not held accountable, they're just basically leading the road for another judge to take their place. And once they're done with their term, guess what's going to happen? It's just a repetitive cycle.
It just
We're going
grows a new head. Right.
and it's
Yeah.
it's like I said, it's just disgusting and appalling because it makes you feel as if you can't be the parent that you need to be for your own children. You see so many some of these stories. I mean, when you think you've heard one, everyone is going through such a traumatic thing. They're always unique in their own separate way, but one and the same. I always say
Right.
that.
Yeah.
It's so heartbreaking to each and every one of them. I don't know if you happen to see the last podcast that I did, but I have to keep bringing this up because it's heartbreaking. And this is the reason why. She was with her, was being abused by her father, and the little girl was pleading with the judge. She was pleading with the judge. Okay, I don't want to go with dad. He's abusing me. Do you know what the judge said? It's in our best interest. It's in our preference that you go with your dad. And I'm going, first of all, these children are of age to the point to where they know right from wrong. They know what love is and what bad is, good, bad, and if she's expressing to the judge that she is in harm's way and she's in danger, she's telling the judge she's going to kill herself. If she goes back, they made her go, they not only
How
made
can
her
we,
go
how
with
can
her
we
father,
not say, just by hearing that, and were you court watching that case or you just know about it?
this was a story I just covered last week. Her name was
Okay.
Angela Fraser.
So how can we look at that? Let's just look at that one thing. Who in their right mind would not say that this is not demonic?
Right.
Seriously. How else can we explain this? Who could possibly sit there and make a decision and order it to an innocent child?
That's
and
crying,
but let's
pleading.
think, that's begging. Now, if that little child went to a good police officer, I'm not talking about a corrupt one. I'm talking about a good police officer. They would say, I will protect you. Like that's what you're supposed to do. If you like, none of it makes sense. So the very thing that they'll hold somebody accountable for, like if CPS actually did the job they're supposed to, which their child predator services, so they can't, their child pedophilia services, so they can't. But for what we think they're supposed to be there for, you would have to step in and intervene and protect that child from the person that they're afraid of.
Yep.
But yet in this case, we're going to order you and demand you, and then we're going to confuse you more as a little child and tell you that this is beneficial for you.
Right.
So what does that tell that innocent child?
It's a domino effect, like you just said. So if you have a good cop, there's the difference. Any child abuse situations that go on and you take it to the police tell you it's not in our hands, it's in family court.
Right. It's a family court matter. It's civil.
So you call CPS and you get CPS involved, and guess what CPS states? Well, we could take a report, we can write an investigation, but you have to deal with it in family court.
Right. And there you go.
Exactly. When you indicate them at CPS, they will only take it so far. They could take it to their superior. They could take it to their lawyers, but guess who else is in control? If their lawyers don't say this isn't sufficient enough, this isn't substantial enough, this isn't enough abuse, basically, your child has not died, God forbid, or been in the hospital, they're not going to do nothing.
I know.
So then you go into family court and you deal with the family courts. And if the guardian ad litem or the law guardians are not stepping up and saying that there's a concern,
which they won't, they will say, I don't see anything wrong here. Yeah. They do that intentionally. Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing wrong here. Nothing. I don't see anything. Oh, I forgot my glasses. But yeah.
It's a domino effect.
It's intentional.
They point the finger. That's all. It's so nobody is held accountable. Again, I hate to keep saying that, but it's
a game though. It's a game.
Yeah,
it's a game.
It's true. But if you were to see, if you ever get time,
I will. I'll watch it. I'll find the time. I'm learning how to make more time. I don't know how I'm doing it, but
it's a lot. I mean, when I started,
oh my God, it's like it's 25/8.
Yeah, when I started this stuff, I never was on Facebook. Okay, I barely ever went on Facebook, and then I thought I was the only one that was going through it. Of course, like any other person. And then when you get yourself involved with certain groups and start speaking to other people, your mind starts opening up. And I'm going, oh my God, like I'm not the only person. So you start talking to people and reaching out to them, even for just encouragement sometimes, and someone to talk to. And you realize how deep it is, along with how much is out there and how so many people, say for instance, just this tidbit of information, okay? A lot of people do not know when CPS comes to their door, if they don't have a warrant, they don't have a right to say.
That's right. Don't let them in. Don't let them in. Don't. Yeah.
So when you see
no warrant, no entry. They're not even allowed on a blade of grass in your yard.
Yes. And it's just like there's so much that we don't know. And so much has to be put out there because they're not going to tell us. They're not going to have those resources out there. They don't want us to know because they don't want us to educate ourselves.
Well, the abusive home, they're not going to do anything about anyway. They're going to leave the children there in the genuine abusive home. They're going to tell you, well, but in the non-abusive home, that's where they're going to try to play games with you but you have to remember, every child has a price tag, just like every child. So a disabled child has a certain price tag because of the psychotropic drugs and the whatever kind of fake therapy they're going to give them and all this nonsense. Okay. So they have a price tag. Okay. And then the blue-eyed blonde child has an adoption price tag. The mixed child has an adoption price tag. The twin has an adoption a price tag. Special type of ethnicity has every child has a price tag. And what they'll do is they'll make it look good for not good because it's never, but if you don't know any better, they're trying to make it look like they're doing an investigation. Right now they're doing this to protect the children, and you're saying protect the children from what? Like what are they? You just, by ripping them from their home, you have just caused up to 20 years off of their life, according to adverse childhood experiences. You have just caused such trauma, and you have just caused a disability, period. And now the very thing that you're using against that mother, we'll just say for argument's sake, but now that is actually happening in your care to the child, okay, or in placement, or in group homes, or in whatever, or home to home to home, is a million times worse than the fake allegation you made against that mother.
Right.
And yet you still continue to stay there. And now now all of a sudden you have to have a 1-year trial to replace the child back home, because you have to make sure that you don't hurt that child that you're destroying every single day.
And even
you can't wrap your brain around this insanity.
Yeah.
You
Even
can't.
after that, they harass you after that too.
And
On
then they
top.
harass the person after that with services.
Yes, yes. And what's crazy is, get this. This. I didn't realize how crazy it was. Okay, until CPS come to my door one day, and I laughed. I had to record everything. This is when I started
Right.
listening.
Get that camera going.
Right, and I put it on Facebook Live. Matter of fact.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
I
what
was
I
not
tell people.
playing.
Let's do it.
I was not playing. I
I
was
taught
like,
people
listen,
how to
dude.
chase them, so they literally go running to their cars.
Yes.
It's fun, but good.
I said, listen, I'm recording you. And he goes, well, I don't want to be recording. I go, I don't want you in my house.
Yeah, right. I don't want you on my property.
Right. So, and that's another thing parents
You don't want to
need
be
understand.
recorded, turn around and walk away.
Right. That's another thing parents need to understand. You don't need to cower down or feel in fear when you're
No.
with these people. You stand your ground and you let them know what's going on and how you feel. Anyways, the first CPS worker that had come to my house, do you know what the words that came out of her mouth was? She literally was on the phone speaking to somebody about where her money was for taking and ripping away a family of 5 for a domestic violence situation.
Oh, I would have went nuts on her. That
So
you should have got that live. Did you get that live?
I said, no, not that one.
Darn it.
So I said, I confronted the other guy that I recorded about it though. I said, you know what's funny is you guys are supposed to serve and protect, where my ex-husband has abused my child and you have done nothing about it. But you're coming over here over a false accusation that he made, harassing me. I said, and then instead of helping families, like for instance, this woman stating that she got $5,000 for taking away these kids with domestic violence situation, I said, instead of helping them, you're ripping them away all for a paycheck. I said, but there's serious situations where children are actually being abused and you're doing nothing about it.
And they know it.
And he had nothing to, but it's like when you talk to them, it's like a mask. There's no emotion.
Sick. They're sick.
Dead.
They're demonic. I'm telling you. They're just gone. I have a couple of CPS social workers actually. I don't know if they're going to actually show their faces and give their names. I don't remember what they told me they're going to do, but they're going to be exposing New York State for us.
Really?
They're willing. I don't remember I honestly don't remember if they told me I had to dub them out or not. I'm going to find out, but we're going to be doing that. So I'm very excited about that. But I talk to these people all the time. It's just that not everybody's willing to come forward. I have police officers. I have so many that I wish that I'd be like, if you guys would just start fighting together, I guarantee more will join you. They'll start to join you, you know? Yep. But people I think that they're afraid because they're vicious. They'll take their own kids. I've seen it. I've seen attorneys that actually have fought the system. And now we've got, like I said, Josh Douglas and several others. They're not going anywhere. Trust me. They've got, their backs are good. Okay. So we will be, it's happening. It's happening. So, but don't say we didn't die trying, because it's
really about time. I think it's about time. Everybody's kind of had enough. And it's not just us that need to be awakened to what's really going and truly going on, but it's the people that don't live what we have gone through. Right. And the people that have not had to, thank God, deal with their child either being abused or being, through domestic violence. Those are the people that we really need to touch. Those are the people that really need to just kind of wake up and understand we are powerful in numbers.
That's right. I'm concerned about our children in the sense of like I've always said, I never call a child a juvenile delinquent because they're creating the juvenile delinquent. That's what they want. And we have to really fight hard for those kids because that's, but I'm very concerned about a lot of the youth because a lot of them don't have a proper upbringing in the sense that parents don't watch them anymore. They're not with them. They don't watch them. They let them do whatever they want. I mean, I'm telling you, I have kids that sleep at my house and I don't hear from their parents for days. Mm-hmm. And it blows my mind. And you may know who I am, but you really don't know who I am. So how do you just let your kid just come? I just don't even understand that. I'd rather be a helicopter mom any day of the week. You can mock me all you want, but I'm going to watch my kid. Sorry. And at the age, well, they're 14, they need more autonomy. No, actually, they need less because you know what? They need their private bedroom. That's what they need. But they don't need to just go and do whatever. In a world where right now, and I'm for medicinal marijuana, okay, when needed. But I'm certainly not for what this is going on out here. I don't smoke pot at all. That's not what I'm saying. I don't even drink. But I understand that if you're stage 4 cancer, okay, and you're not driving a car. But how do you teach the youth today that are already messed up from all of what family court has done to them that it's okay? And now, it's like then they're going to look at you and be like, how do you stop a kid when most of these adults are doing stupid? Let's face it. So there's no discipline. There's no morals being taught anymore. There's no values being taught more. There's nothing about your character being taught anymore. We've
Well,
lost it.
it's in our all of our movies, it's in their cartoons, it's in the news, it's
Yeah.
being influenced and pushed everywhere you go, and that's the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
And if the children, like in my generation, it was get the heck outside and stay outside even in the wintertime and go
Until the
play.
lights come out, then you come right.
Yeah, use your
But it was
imagination.
safer. It's not like now.
No,
It's
they
not
don't
like
want to.
now.
No,
I
they
mean,
want to
I
stay.
went my high school. I went through, and I'm not saying that there wasn't fights in school and things, but my particular
Right,
high school, I never saw a fight in the 4 years. Honest to God. Now there's a
right.
fight every day. Like we're like girls are beating each other up in the hallways. It's like
Yeah.
it's unbelievable. It's
Or
unbelievable.
guess what? I just had to take my kids out of school today because I don't know if anybody has heard. There was this
Yes,
movie
the
on.
TikTok.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh my
absolutely.
gosh.
I'm 100. I wrote to school and I said I'm a little offended. They love
Right.
me and it's actually a great school, but I said I'm a little offended that how do you call a threat a hoax? It can't be a threat and a hoax.
Right.
Okay, this is that play on words garbage, and I'm serious about stuff like this. I said it's either a threat or it's a hoax, but it can't be both. Okay, and then I see some parents and they're well-meaning. I'm going to send my kids because they have to know that if we cower, well, you didn't cower about the mask and you're being shot up like a bunch of fools by vaccinations and boosters, but you're
Right.
going to send your kid when they may be a gunman, but they may not. So we're not going to bow down to that. And I'm just like, when people say they're going to do something these days, you better believe it. You
Right.
better believe it. And we've been through enough trauma that I don't think that my son will go to school today because I don't need to sit home with my heart falling out of my chest, wondering. And it doesn't matter that you live in a good neighborhood anymore. It's
Yep.
really sad. It's
Yep.
really sad. And when you watch the news, which is rare for me, but when you watch it and you
It's so
see that,
negative.
what
Yeah.
was it, $10 the other day selling water bottles and the kid is shot in the street?
Yep.
I mean, this is what's going on. A 12-year-old killed somebody, a 13-year-old killed somebody, a 9-year-old killed somebody. Listen, we better wake up quickly. And we could thank family court for this. We
And
could
not only
thank family
that,
court for this.
it also comes down to what you instill in your children. Like, I mean, I know we're in a different generation right now. I truly believe, I love God as well, and I truly believe we're living in the end times.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of people need to really do wake up and realize this is a warfare. This is a religious warfare we're
Yes.
now.
Yes.
And you need to literally instill from day one in your children good morals and values in life, because honestly, it doesn't really matter what generation you grow up into.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how they excel with the computer and the technology. It really doesn't, even though there is going to be some impact and influence, of course. But
Right.
as long as you are open with your children and understanding their world around them, the truth, okay, the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you can openly what's truly going on, it's actually going to open their mind.
I think I lost you for a second.
Hello?
There you are. There you are. You said it's going to open
Yeah,
their
that's
mind, and
weird.
then you got cut.
I can hear our live in the background.
Really?
Yeah, that's so
They're
weird.
probably, it's Facebook, because Facebook doesn't let me go. I'm not allowed to go live. It's a wonder I'm not going to be blocked in the next 30 days for this. Who knows? I'm sorry.
Well, sharing it all over.
You can
So
find me on YouTube, guys. Find me on YouTube. I'll have this downloaded to YouTube so we don't lose it, just in case somebody reports
right.
it. No, we're talking about the truth. They don't like it. The truth is not allowed. Your
Yeah,
First
yeah.
Amendment right, freedom of speech,
Freedom of
only the
speech.
speech they want.
Exactly.
It's amazing. I can't hear what you hear, though. And when we first started out, I couldn't hear you at all. And then all of a sudden, the volume just went up.
Really? You can't hear me
Yeah.
right now?
I hear you now beautifully. Like for the first probably 20 minutes, I was straining to hear you. And then all of a sudden it just kicked on.
And the whole time we're talking right now, I can actually hear our live behind us. Literally right now, it's echoing behind, not us talking right now. I mean, like
sad.
5 minutes before
it's
I've
sad.
never
I'm like, I'm
yeah.
not that important. Like, I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's not
There's
even
people
about
that have, like, I've had millions of views, like with certain things, like the New York State Assembly, but there's people that have millions of viewers that they don't bother. I don't understand why me. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Well, you got to also understand what the extent of your topics are, and how much you exaggerate, not in a bad way, but meaning how much you are actually opening up their minds for
to
people,
think about
for the audience to understand. the truth about it. You know what I mean? Exactly. So when people hear about truth, why do you think the news don't cover it? The news
Right.
media is not going to cover stories like this because they
Right.
don't care, because they're actually part of
And
the
I think they're a
problem.
little bit shocked, and that's because of the anointing of God, that we did get the New York Post, and that we are getting Newsday, and that we are, because it doesn't happen. I mean, you could beat it, it doesn't happen. The children
Right.
have to be murdered for them to tell the story after they're dead, and that's as far as it goes. But it never has
Yeah.
ever happened, ever, ever, when the children were not, thank you God, killed. Okay. So
Yep.
so they're shocked. They're shocked that I got my son back twice from the same demon judge. That judge is
Yep.
shocked. He was like
Yep.
shocked. His face shows shock, because that's God. That's God. But I
Yep.
want to tell people, though, the pain that you feel through the process is not fun. I'm telling you, and you know that. This is you know as being a Christian comes with persecution, and you don't pick your
Mm-hmm.
persecution. So you're put
So
into
we also,
this,
excuse me.
but I never knew. Like, I used to say, how can they make these decisions? And then it took time to unravel and find out this is child trafficking. It's what it is. So now that we know that, that's why I said, if we knew it, what does it say in the Bible, that their hearts would fail them? I don't, obviously it means like the evil, but at the same time, our
Right.
hearts would fail us, because if we knew the extent of just how big it is, but we know that our God is way bigger. We know that he's way bigger.
Amen.
So,
Right.
but the point is that this
And
is
he's going to
something.
open. He opens doors that no man will close, and that's
That's right.
one thing to live on, most definitely. And
Yeah.
evil will never prevail, and
No.
that's another reason why I say that we will conquer in numbers. Because I even tell my little baby this. Okay, I tell him from day one, we pray every night, we plead the blood of Jesus over everybody in this house and everything.
Amen.
And he has the anointing, especially when they're innocent.
Amen.
Like that, you can get a lot of prayer through. When people
That's
are
right.
on one accord and when they agree, things will get done. So when I hear people say, oh, we can't do this, we can't do that, I have to automatically tell them. And this is what we got to keep encouraging everybody.
That's
You
right.
need to change your mindset. You
That's
need to
right.
start.
You need
It
to.
says in the Bible that our words are powerful, that we
That's
need to
right.
speak life into this world. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So when you start
Speak
speaking and
exactly what you
believing,
want to see happen. Mm-hmm.
yes, most definitely. If you want it to happen, it will happen.
That's right.
It will happen. You just got to walk by faith. And although we don't understand our trials and our tribulations, it's not for us to understand at that point in time, unfortunately. It's to strengthen us. It's to encourage us. It's to give us that faith and that willpower that he was so merciful enough to give to us,
Right.
for us to move on and move forward. And we will, because we're getting
Mm-hmm.
close, like you said.
That's
We are
right.
getting really close.
And I get,
So,
like, I think, like, because I was wondering, like, why, of course, I think we all probably ask these questions, like, why would you allow this to happen for so long? Why are these children being trafficked? It just breaks my heart. I can't deal with it. If the
right.
Lord teaches you to guard your heart and your mind, but like, you still don't always, let's put it that way. And this stuff
We're
comes at
human.
you. So we're human, and it comes at you so fast and so furious. But I realized that if we didn't go, how do I explain it? If we didn't keep going, so to speak, we wouldn't know just how much he's trying to expose, basically. Do you know
Right.
what I'm saying? This isn't just a little thing that's happening just over here. Okay? It's extreme in Long Island. It's extreme in Ulster County. It's extreme in Erie County, Niagara Falls. Okay? It's extreme in parts of Virginia. It's West Virginia. Arizona, child trafficking like you can't imagine, all through the family court, CPS, and medical kidnapping. Okay?
Yep.
So this isn't just like a little underling or a little demon. No, this is a hierarchy. Okay?
It's a cult. It's a
And
cult.
yeah,
That's the only way you can put it. It's a cult.
it is a
It has
cult.
to be. I mean, there's no other
Yeah.
way of putting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's why we're
Like
always going, this just doesn't make sense. It's not gonna make sense. How can it make sense? This is insane. Like, even non-believers of Christ would never do this to other human beings, to children. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, yep.
It's amazing. It's amazing. We'll get through it. Yeah.
Yep, just pray hard and keep, like I said, 10 steps ahead at all times.
Definitely. I do want to do actually another show with you some other time, because I really want to. And
Yeah, for
if it's up
sure.
to you, I really want you to tell your story that you went through, if it's okay, if you are prepared to do something like that, because
Sure.
and I say this too, I really think testimony is key, because you have come a long way. Like, you have been encouraged and you've been strengthened within your own story. And that's pretty much how you started all this advocacy, correct?
Yeah, it started in 2007, but I always had sole custody. It wasn't until 2017 that Anthony McGinty gave my son to his abuser. And then he did it again at the end of October 2020. My son is home. So that's 2 times.
Thank God.
And I can tell you this, but the Lord, like, I was like, I literally, the first time was hell enough. Could you imagine twice? I did not know what hit me the second time. The Lord did not prepare me, me. Okay. So I had no clue. And it was absurd. It was like, because even the district attorney here in Ulster County was against McGinty for doing what he did to us the first time. It made no sense. But I would have never learned. I went viral. My book went bestseller because everybody was like, I relate to this. Like you said, they're coming out of the woodworks. I would pull a meeting together in, like, I think it was like 2008. I did a meeting at the library, the local library. I had people come from Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. My room, it was packed out past the door. And I was like, whoa, I didn't know what hit me. I was like, and that's when it just, I was like, oh my God. Because I remember standing in the family court going, this doesn't make any sense. Like you would think that you'd walk in and it would be like easy, this mother has no background, she's clean, blah blah blah, she doesn't, whatever, and boom. No, I'm actually fighting to protect my child. This doesn't make any sense. And so, and then I remember
it's like survival of the fittest. Survival of the fittest. It's crazy.
Yeah. And that's why I say, like, this whole, we have to be very careful with this father's rights movement, because it's government run. It's not what we think. They buy these. It's. Let me tell this before we wrap it. They buy these fathers' suits. You'll notice a man that never wears a suit, all of a sudden he walks in with a suit. That's because they're buying them the suit so they can present themselves. On my life, take a look, start watching, you'll see it. I'll point them out. There's a suit guy. Yeah, and good fathers are sitting here struggling. A father that would never not support their child. They'll support them because it comes from normalcy, right? They're not able to get access to the kids. I'm telling you, don't join fathers' rights. They're never going to help you. They're not here to help you. They're only here for the abuser. It's demonic. So my point is that no two normal people that breaks up their relationship, okay, even if they were never married, but just breaks up their relationship and has children, they don't even go to family court. They just work it out. It's unfair. As adults, you talk about the 50-50. So normal people with everyday fragilities and everyday things, okay, but basic normal people that aren't doing crazy stuff, okay, they won't agree to disagree. They'd agree. No, and no non-abusive father would ever take custody of a mother, ever. Let me give you a couple stories. I know some very wonderful fathers. One locally, his wife, and it's a beautiful testimony because their marriage is perfect today, but she was having a lot of drug issues and going in and out of jail. It broke his heart to keep the children from her. That is a normal man. Okay? Right. So it's just a normal makeup, okay? Well, and everything, thank God, worked out beautifully now, and everything she's completely clean. They have a beautiful family, a happy marriage. Everything is great. Okay, that's a good testimony. That doesn't always happen, but that's a good testimony. But my point is that normal people don't need family court. Stay out, work it out. Work it out. If you're not going to be together, work it out. Kids should not be on a piece of paper on Wednesdays and Fridays and Sundays and this day. No adult wants to sleep from house to house to house to house. If you willingly want to go, and it's part of just the freedom of life, free will that's God-given, that's good. But if you're on a piece of paper and on Monday you have to be here and Tuesday here, even if you've got two normal parents, that's not good. Okay, it's just not. We're not made that way. Every day is a thumbprint. Every day is a new day. Every day brings new things. Okay, you may want to be doing whatever on Monday with your mom and then Tuesday with your dad because of whatever reason. So normal people stay out of family court. But what goes to family court is always, and you'll see, this is one thing I'm right about, it's always an abuser or a narcissist taking the other person to family court. Or they're a combination of an abuser and a narcissist combined. And the judges are narcissist abusers themselves. So they're not going to see clearly to discern a relationship or to discern what's proper for children because they are that same person that's an abuser and a narcissist. So they're going to side with that person. And that's the bottom line. and we don't belong there.
Exactly. That was perfect. That was definitely perfect. Yeah. That was definitely perfect. And people have to understand that, because you're 100% right. Narcissists, as we all know, they constantly need that supply. And if the judge itself is a narcissist, well, guess what? Our case is going to go on for 2 to 3 to 4 years because you're feeding that supply. I mean, you can't even imagine if they were eating some food, how fat they would become over something like this. Oh my God. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You're amazing, Francesca.
So you are amazing. I'm happy I got to meet you. Yeah, I don't just take on. It's funny because it had to be God, because I don't just take on interviews.
I'm gonna wrap this up real quick.
So I'll edit. You send
me. You know what I've learned? God has been putting so many good people in my life, and I'm so glad that they're God-fearing people too. That's another thing you don't realize. The people that are coming, the people that are coming in my life now. I'm echoing. That's why I keep pausing.
It's okay. I hear you though.
Okay. But like, God keeps putting people in my life that literally are God-fearing people, and I have wanted that for so long now, because it is an encouragement. You know, it is definitely helpful to have others not only go through what we went through, but have the strength and still believe and have the faith in God.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing that's carrying us right now.
That's right.
And people have to understand that our strength.
Cling close to Him, and when you get close to Him, cling closer. Seriously, in this day.
Definitely.
Yeah. And you'll never regret it. You'll never regret it.
Alive, but God is powerful.
That's right. So what I'll do is, if you send me like the link and everything, when we're done, since we did this so quickly and we didn't know we were doing it this way, I'll edit and I'll put in your link, my link and everything, and then I can convert it. I don't know if it's going to let you convert it because of the MP4, but it might. If not, I can convert it to YouTube and send you that link too. So just that if Facebook tries to remove us.
All right. No problem. I know it's echoing a lot, and I can't really hear what you're saying now. Before it was great, but I feel like I'm talking like 3 times over myself.
Okay.
Before I close real quick, anybody that's watching, just please, another reminder to go on care2.com, sign Malachi's Law. Also, we are the voice for the Silenced and Afflicted. Always does podcasts to give parents opportunities to tell your stories. Testimony is key. Please remember that. In order to fight back, we have to work collectively together. Sorry, I'm hollering, you guys, but there's a lot of echoing going on here.
No, it's good. I think we hear you clear. We hear you clear. I don't know if it's just you that's hearing it. Like, I hear it clear. So,
okay.
And if you don't mind, I'm just going to say, like, if you guys need any help, you can go to, it's called Book a Talk on Punished, 4 beingaparent.com. And then I'm on TikTok too now. I don't use it that often, but I'm on TikTok and YouTube. YouTube, I put it as.
Don't forget your book.
Oh, my book is Punished for Protecting the Injustice System of Family Court. But I do have 2 more books that are coming out, but it's going to take a little longer than I anticipated, because of time.
That's awesome.
My time is just.
And is there a link to go to your nonprofit organization at all?
Yeah, I'll put that in. I'll add all of it, like your link and my link. I'll add it. I'll type it in. Okay. But yeah, it's punished for being a parent.com. And awesome. You could go there, and then I'm on Facebook too. There's like Punished for Protecting News Channel, because I did a lot of broadcasting and TV stations and so on, which we're reinstating now. Right now we're converting my story into a movie through New Paltz College, which is going to be pretty cool. I want to do that, but we didn't put a deadline. We're going to give it time. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my new book to the original book in the movie. And I wanted to bring local kids involved. I wanted to really get involved with the kids. That was like really important to me. And I wanted to be local artists. I wanted to be local talent. I wanted to be, like filmmakers. And I wanted all, like, I really wanted to be raw and real.
That's awesome.
Because it's about healing. I want to see bringing healing. So we'll see.
You're awesome, Francesca. Thanks so much for inviting me onto the live. Hopefully next
time. Yeah, thank you. No, thank you. So we'll do this again.
Guys, I'm going to go. Tina Salinas here from We Are the Voice for the Silenced and Afflicted. Love you. So much respect given to you, Francesca. Hope to hear from you soon, honey.
Hey, God bless you guys. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
God bless. Bye.